Welcome back to Hot Takes with Hot Sauce and my man Matt. I'm Hot Sauce. This is Matt, and
Let's go.
welcome.
Yeah, and I want to hop right on into it, and let's talk about Bud Crawford. Announced that he retired. Kalvin, I don't think he's going to stay retired. I think there will be some good money thrown his way, and I think he'll come out of retirement. What do you think?
I think that's fair. I think the same way. I think that right now there's no one in the Silva future that makes sense for him to fight for the amount of money that he's probably deserves. And so he's like, well, I'm gonna just put him up for a little bit. So apparently the rumor was he was supposed to fight the winner out of Janibek and Irzlandi Lara for all four middleweight titles, but that fight got canceled because Janibek tested hot for PEDs. And so those plans, that would have been a good plan. It would have been, I think, a five or four-time undisputed in four different weight classes. So that was a hell of a plan, but the PEDs and the Kazakhstan fighter kind of debunked and derailed those plans. So I think he's like, nah, I think I'm gonna chill. Y'all got it. Let y'all have it. Peace out.
I would like to see him actually retire because there's only so many guys who go out on top. Usually people hang on for too long and then they don't tarnish their legacy, but unfortunately a lot of people just remember the last thing you've done. And I think that'd be really cool if he actually goes out on top. But yeah, we've seen this many times in the world of boxing. He's got a lot of publicity. He's got a lot of people talking about him. He's got, the mainstream sports media outlets covering him, like ESPN made a post about him. So marketing wise, this is really smart. But yeah, I think once some good money gets thrown his way, we'll see him back in the ring.
You know what? A little bit on that too. It was the Nassim. He was a famous coach from Philly. He's rest in peace. But so when Andre Ward retired from the sport of boxing, he was 33-0, kind of the same thing, retired on top. The people, including myself, like, he'll be back. Don't worry, he'll be back. But Nassim said something that I found very interesting. He said, if Andre takes retirement like he does a fight, then he won't come out of retirement. So Bud is extremely competitive. So if he treats retirement like a fight, as in like if I go back to fighting, I quit or I lost, you know what I mean? Then he'll stay retired. Andre Ward stay retired, so we'll see how Bud takes it.
So obviously, we have the big, massive Netlfix card on Friday. Before we talk about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua for the last time, let's discuss a fight that I'm interested in is Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley. I find that to be a really interesting fight. Two former opponents of Jake, two former UFC champions. Both guys lost to Jake. And so I look at this matchup. Yeah. Silva's 50 years old. Tyron Woodley, he's 43 years old. So at 43, Woodley does have the youth advantage. Silva is a more skilled boxer. He's actually probably as skilled as an MMA fighter can possibly be when it comes to entering the squared circle. He's got some legitimate skills, but he's older. And I think Woodley is better than people gave him credit for, but he has not done anything in 4 years. I think December 18th, 2021 was when he was knocked out by Jake Paul. And he's going to be fighting on December 19th of 2025. Father Time doesn't reward inactivity. We've talked about Father Time plenty of times, you and me. Does not love 4 years off. And Silva hasn't been super active either. But so I look at this fight, and Silva's 6'1", 6'2". Woodley's 5'9". Woodley's a little bit thicker. I would say if I had to bet money on who's going to win, I'm going to go Silva by decision just because skills pay the bills. And he's lengthier. He's more skilled. But the one caveat is Tyron Woodley got a lot of criticism throughout the later part of his MMA career, but also in the fights against Jake Paul. They didn't let his hands go. But I think against Jake Paul in the boxing ring, he was worried about the receipt. He was a bit leery of what Jake and his power could do to him. So I thought he played it a little close to the vest, especially in that first fight. You can make the argument in that second fight that Woodley was winning before he got knocked out by Jake. So that's one thing to consider is I think Woodley might let the hands fly more than people realize. I don't think this will be a high output fight, but for Woodley to win this, I think he has to make this, he's got to let the hands go one. And also that strategy he had against Jake Paul a few years ago where he fought dirty. Like he headbutt, elbow, slam Jake, just a bunch of clinching. Like That's the exact strategy I would apply to Anderson Silva. I would rough him up and I would get in there and make it an ugly fight and just let the hands go and see what happens. There was going to be someone who wins by knockout. It's Woodley. If it's decision, Anderson Silva. And I think the more likely thing will be decision. Wow. Kalvin, what are your thoughts?
Wow, you said a lot there, man. I definitely agree with the experience and the reach and the height for Silva. And I mean, look at the way he fought in the UFC. I'm not a UFC big fan, but everything was about keeping his distance, jabs, long kicks. And so it's going to make it a real difficult night for Tyron Woodley to get inside. I mean, Anderson Silva gave Jake Paul all he can handle too. You know what I mean? Yeah. He got drop bombed, but he made it competitive. Yeah, I remember being in camp in Dubai, and Jellian Love said he was recalling about the dressing room of Silva. So like in boxing, when you getting your hand wraps, it's customary a team from the other camp is in there watching your hands wrap, make sure there's no trickery going on. Mm-hmm. And Jellian was recalling that whenever he walked in, you can kind of check the temperature of your opponent a little bit. He came back to Jake team and was like, "Hey man, that motherfucker ready." Talking about Silva. Silva was prepared. He was mentally stone cold, locked in, no worries. And so that I think is going to make a tough night for Tyron Woodley. I actually think that it may actually be a knockout in Silva's favor just because of the length and the leverage. But you do have a point, though. Tyron Woodley does have to make it awkward, and kind of rough it up a little bit and not keep it clean and kind of make it to where you're clinching and punching on the clinch and maybe even accidentally slam him, you know what I mean? Kind of set the tone that way. But I have Silva by knockout. Let's put it that. Let's go there.
Okay. I think it would be really cool to see a knockout in that fight. I think there's a great chance it goes to decision, but I would love to see the knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, 19-3 pro boxer Kalvin Hot Sauce Henderson and myself, Matt Michaels, will be going live for a watch party for the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight. We'll be giving you our insights, our reactions, our analysis, and maybe we'll have a fun guest or two stop on by the show. You will not want to miss out. Tune in. Moving on to Jake Paul Anthony Joshua a little bit. I was thinking about this, that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua was a little bit like Rocky versus Drago, but Rocky's the villain. Like Rocky's the villain. And And you know what I also think? I think that a lot of people who watch Jake Paul or follow Jake Paul who really hate him, I think they got people. I think they got Jake Paul derangement syndrome. I'm going to say it because everyone's hedging their bets. I think people deep down are like afraid Jake's gonna somehow pull this off. So everyone's hedging their bets. They're like Anthony Joshua or it's rigged. Like people just hate Jake Paul so much. They can't accept the fact that he applied himself. Like I look at Jake and I see a guy who has lived out the American dream. He was a failed high school athlete and he took a chance and he dropped out early and went to California to be a content creator. I'm not saying that's super noble or anything, but he's built himself up to be a guy who's got hundreds of millions of dollars and is a legitimate pro boxer. And he did that while he was super rich. I'm not saying he's the most likable personality, but I think that people, when it comes to his fights, and there's so many individuals out there in the comment section who think the fights are rigged or comment on our video and are like, this is stupid. Why are you guys covering it? You're the one clicking on the video and spending the time to leave the comment. I'm
sorry. I think, Matt, it's so easy for people to jump into that bandwagon of saying the fights are rigged, right? Without even truly dissecting his fights or even watching them fight. It's so easy just to go like, oh yeah, they're fixed. They're rigged. Why? I don't think people truly understand how difficult it is to rig a professional boxing match. Exhibition, I don't know. But we have laws in place. We have commissions in place in the sport of boxing that is extremely difficult to rig a fight. Can you set rules where they can't balloon up to this weight at past this time? Yes. But when the bell rings, it's actual action in there. You know what I mean? And you made the comment that reminds you of Rocky versus Drago. I think it reminds me of Creed versus Drago's son. So Creed 2 and the second one. When he stepped into the ring and he was playing a heavyweight and he matched up against a guy that was actually a heavyweight. That's what this reminds me of, Creed versus Drago's son.
And
Baby Drago.
In the first fight where Drago
Correct. Yeah, when he smacked him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about Jake rigging the fights. I will show you guys. I'll put an overlay of Jake throwing a fake punch in WWE. He throws the most unrealistic fake punch you'll ever see. Yeah, so now let's get into the final predictions for the fight. I'm going to go Anthony Joshua within the first 3 rounds. That's going to be my prediction. I'm not saying it's impossible for Jake. Jake's a guy who, in my opinion, has the it factor. And I think a lot of people deep down see that as well. That's why I think a lot of people are hedging their bets. Like, they know deep down, like, Jake's one of those guys that he's just built a little bit different than the average guy. So I'm saying for a guy like that, it's not absolutely impossible for him to pull off a miracle, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go Anthony Joshua within 3 rounds.
Yes, sir. It's an 8-round fight. I say AJ about 5 rounds for sure. Maybe the first couple rounds he kind of fill him out a little bit, or Jake, he's still gonna be in shape. And Jake, if he's playing the right game, he's gonna move his feet, which means it's gonna be hard to hit in the beginning. But once he slows down a little bit and Joshua lands a shot, yeah, definitely. So I say AJ about 5.
You think it's going to be like Drago versus Apollo Creed, where Drago is just holding his hand there, taking punches from Creed, and then his coach yells in Russian, and then Drago just unloads on him?
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be somewhat like that. I think that Joshua will get hit. I don't think it'll be a shutout, you know what I mean? I think he will get tagged. I don't think Jake has the pop to even make a dent in Anthony Joshua's chin. But like I said before, Joshua will dance for you now. We seen him dance. You catch him in that chin, he'll turn into what them girls at? Throw into a stripper and start dancing for you. But interesting. We'll see Friday though.